This presentation will highlight the current beef industry and the main company leaders involved in it. It will then highlight potential disruptions that could emerge for the future of this industry as a whole. According to the USDA.gov website, in the United States alone, the beef industry, which does not include poultry, pork, or any other alternatives, accounted for 24.8 billion pounds of beef. This equated to 60 billion US dollars. These numbers were recorded for the year 2015, and the industry as a whole continued to grow year over year and is forecasted for growth for the foreseeable future. With beef comes ethical implications to consider. First, there is large controversy between consumers about the ethics of eating meat in general. With beef comes the killing of cows, which are conscious beings. Some consumers believe this is not a concern since cows are not as smart as humans and therefore can be considered a source for food. Others consider this morally wrong, that because cows are conscious at all, forcefully ending their lives against their will is wrong. A second consideration is in regards to the environment. Cow farming requires large amounts of land and food to raise the cows, which, if alternatives can be found, can be used in other more productive ways. Cow farming also produces a large impact on the depletion of the atmosphere as a whole. Saving these carbon emissions has been considered among environmentally conscious consumers. Younger generations are driving the demand for environmentally conscious alternatives among all industries. In regards to the beef industry, we are seeing a rise in veganism, which is the eating of no meat products or any products that are associated with animals at all. Vegan meat alternatives, such as hamburgers and sausages, which are made from plant products, are also becoming prevalent as this trend emerges. But is there no real replacement for beef? A healthy diet requires a substantial amount of protein. Plant-based protein can replace most of this, but some specific proteins that consumers search for are mostly found in meat only. Which brings us to the potential disruption, lab-grown beef. It is possible to grow cuts of meat in a lab. These cuts are grown from a culture of cells and are not conscious beings. Currently, they cannot compete with beef because the prices are astronomical in comparison. As this technology becomes refined, prices can eventually compete directly with the beef industry. Currently, there are 4 companies that account for approximately 80% of all worldwide beef production. These leaders with their 2018 sales were Cargill, JBS, Tyson Foods, and National Beef, which accounted for over $200 billion in annual revenue. But can anyone overthrow these 4 giants? These 4 companies make it extremely hard for any one company to overthrow them. But can a company from outside the industry emerge on top? As I pointed to in the previous slide, lab-grown beef is possible. Biotechnology companies are working on this technology as we speak. And if they can figure out how to produce this technology economically, we could see consumers move from traditional beef products to lab-grown alternatives. From the minimal research that was conducted for this presentation, it seems that the current industry giants lack the technology for lab-grown beef. Although it is possible for companies of this magnitude to institute research and development programs to develop this technology. So maybe, if these companies can stay innovative, they can deploy lab-grown alternatives and cut off this disruption from eating away at their market share. Another alternative is the emergence of a biotechnology company at the top of the beef market. Willem Frederik van Eelen currently owns the patent for industrial production of meat using cell cultures. This could make it hard for another company to replicate and deploy this technology. But it is possible that other similar technologies could emerge that do not infringe upon this patent. Without digging into legal implications in regards to patent law, I will leave it up to time to tell us the answer to our questions. So what is next for the beef industry? We have touched upon the possibilities of disruptions in the beef industry and the driving forces behind them. Next generation, as well as environmentally conscious consumers, are driving the demand for meat alternatives. Plant-based alternatives have emerged, but not disrupted the beef industry. The beef industry is still growing year over year. But could lab-grown beef be the alternative we have all been waiting for? If this technology can eventually compete so that price-conscious consumers are not turned away, then it seems that this will eventually become the standard procedure for meat production. But how long will this take? My guess would not be justified, as I do not know enough about the progress of this technology. I do know that no matter who causes this disruption, it will entirely reshape the way we eat. I personally would welcome this change with open arms. All right, that's my take on how and why the beef industry will change as our future unfolds. I would love to hear your thoughts or any additional resources that can help answer when we could see lab-grown beef in stores. Also, it is pretty obvious that when this lab-grown beef hits shelves, it almost certainly won't be called lab-grown beef. Comment below what you think the most likely and most appetizing names that this new technology might get.